Before we begin, I would like to read a quote from a personal favorite book of mine called Shark, A Visual History by Richard Ellis. I am prepared to argue that the most influential American novel, subsequently made into an even more influential movie, was Jaws. Peter Benchley's 1974 blockbuster affected a great many people's attitude towards swimming, to the extent that nearly 4 decades after the publication, there are still people who are terrified to swim in the ocean. This book was written in 2012, and I'm sure all of you would agree with me when I say that we can now push that to 5 generations here in 2022, as this statement still holds true. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another video here in the Sharks world. Today we're going to be going over a topic that I briefly touched on in my last video on actual shark statistics. The topic in question is going to be narrative. More specifically, what the media has done to sharks and their reputation. This video is going to be a little bit more interactive than the other ones, as I will be highlighting a few videos and clips and giving you links to go look at them yourselves, as to I don't want to get any copyright strikes because this channel is still very young and still needs to grow. Now, some of you might be asking, Sharktoz, the fact that we're all here means that we all know that Shark's reputation is already bad. True, and I'm glad that you're here. But the point of this video is to highlight some things that I have noticed as to how sharks are portrayed in media, documentaries, fiction, etc. But also, as a bit of an experiment, I want to see if anybody else has noticed some of the things that I have, and give my 2 cents on what some of these mean. If there was to be a third point, this video should serve as a conversation starter, and hopefully something for other people to keep an eye out, and to see if it still portrays true in the media and fiction that other people see or read, and hopefully highlight it. Either way, I believe this will be a very interesting conversation starter. So, as always, grab you a Celsius, have a seat at the table, and let's have a discussion on what the media has done to sharks. It is said in the field of horror movies that if you wish not to be scared, cover your ears, not your eyes. I would argue that when it comes to sharks in media and fiction, this is a very integral part from the theme that we've all heard, the Jaws theme. For a lot of people, whenever they look at a big body of water, whenever they see a shark, whether it be a great white or a nurse shark, all that's playing in their head is that oh so famous theme song. But this goes beyond the Jaws theme. If you pay attention to a lot of documentaries, listen to some of the music that is played whenever sharks are present, especially if the documentary is comparing sharks to other animals. I'll show you an example about that later on, but why I am going to harp away on this point is that music sets the tone in any kind of masterpiece, big blockbuster movie, or AAA video game. Here, let's conduct an experiment to show what I mean. Pick a favorite scene that you have, whether it be from a movie or a video game, and go watch it on YouTube or wherever you happen to have it, and watch it with the music, then without the music. If you don't have any in particular that you can think of, use this as an example. In the movie Godzilla, King of the Monsters, watch the scene where Rodan breaks out of the volcano with the background music, then watch it without. That should illustrate my point. Why are you still here? Go do it. But make sure you come back. Okay, you're back? Good. Have a seat. Now, I imagine you noticed a stark difference in impact that the scene had without the music. In particular, the one in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Having no music took some of the majesty and awe and power that these monsters had. That effect can be had with shark documentaries as well. Allow me to give you an example, and it will lead to another point that I have as well. Open up another tab in YouTube and type in the words salmon shark documentary. Then look for the documentary Alaskan Killer Shark. The particular timestamps that I want you to watch are on the screen right now. The one above is the one I want you to watch first. Then watch the timestamp below. Watch both of them with music and then watch them without music. So, before I make my point here, go into the comment section and tell me what it is that you noticed in those two timestamps. For me, the first timestamp involved them talking about salmon sharks. Now, the thing that I noticed is the tone of the music that was being shown at that particular part. The second timestamp, they were talking about mammals. And you will notice that the music there is much lighter, much friendlier, trying to give a much more comfortable vibe. This is very, very subtle, but it makes a difference, especially on more popular shows. Before I get into this point, I have a bit of a side rant to go on that I believe is relevant to this conversation. I would argue that part of the human condition is that we are obsessed with ourselves. And more importantly, we're obsessed with anything closely related to us. Think fiction stories like The Monkey King, Planet of the Apes, or, in a bit of a lesser sense, mammals. In the two timestamps, notice the stark difference that they had when it came to talking about the sharks, then when it came to talking about the mammals, and the tone the music was setting. Is this a bad thing? I would say bad is the wrong word to use. What I will say though is that whenever it is used at the detriment of other animal species, such as birds, reptiles, bugs, and especially sharks. Now, is it deliberate? I would say it isn't deliberate in the sense of them trying to put down other animals, but it is deliberate in them trying to push up mammals. I would ask my viewers that next time that they are consuming some type of media that involves mammals, birds, reptiles, and especially sharks, to see if you notice the same thing that I noticed. But anyway, back to the original point that I was making. The music in this documentary is meant to set the tone that these sharks are monsters and that they rely only on instinct and that in some way, shape, or form, they are out to get us. Or at least that's the vibe that the music is attempting to push out. As I stated before, more popular shows are guilty of this exact strategy. Shark Week, unfortunately, is guilty of using this strategy quite often with their shows. If you go back into the tab that I had you open for salmon shark documentaries, you will notice another documentary involving divers going and swimming with salmon sharks. Go take a look at that clip and watch the entire clip or just portions that involve the sharks, and watch them with music and without the music. Shark Week is also guilty of another trick that I am not particularly fond of as well, and that's speeding up clips they have with sharks to make them look like they're swimming much faster than they are, adding sound effects to add to a shark just making a simple movement. All of this adds up when a lot of them say things like, let's see how aggressive these sharks are, or hey, there's known man-eaters or known killers, or they have shows named Great White Serial Killer. If you watched my previous video, you all would know exactly how ludicrous some of these statements are when you look at the actual shark attack statistics. Go take a look at that video if you haven't, by the way. To add even more layers on top of this, when the media says things like shark-infested waters, or a shark mauls a person to death, when in all actuality, the shark just bit the person once and left. Or whenever there is a very rare shark attack, the media hypes it up and spreads articles everywhere to get people back in the fears. It brings things to the point and to the state where we are today, where any type of media, any type of fiction that is going to involve a shark in some way, shape, or form, they are automatically assumed to be evil. Let me give you a few examples. People who know me in real life know that I play Pokemon and that my favorite Pokemon is Sharpedo. Now, Sharpedo has two types. One is water, which makes sense because it's half a shark, but its other typing is dark. My question has always been, why is Sharpedo's second typing dark? Why isn't it just water? This is part of the type of thing that I'm talking about, to where it's automatically assumed to be a dark or evil Pokemon. Its nickname is even called the Bully of the Sea. In Monster Hunter, my particular favorite monster in that game or game series is Sharktoz, a half shark, half frog-like animal. But if you take a look at it, you'll notice that its eyes and its mouth are looking very scary-like, almost Jaws-like, as if to assume it's going to eat you or to make it look much more monster-like. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game has a shark archetype, and most of the sharks shown in the cards are shown with flashing teeth and looking very monster-like. Even Destiny has a sparrow that is named Blood in the Water. Why I keep harping away on this point is because of what it does to the average person. To someone like you and me, this doesn't work on us. But to the average person passing by who doesn't know a lot about sharks, this subconsciously sets the narrative of sharks being evil and being monsters that are going to get you. This reduces all sharks, regardless of species, to the image of Jaws and that oh so famous Jaws theme. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what the media has done to sharks and their reputation. And it's what they're gonna keep doing, it's what Shark Week's gonna keep doing, and it's what fiction is gonna keep doing, as long as it keeps selling. This is why I believe personally that there are no good shark movies out there. None. Not even you, Jaws. But that's another video for another time. As for now, I would ask that any of you watching this video keep an eye out for other sharks in other media and fiction and see if you can notice some of the things that I have noticed. And please, leave your thoughts in your comments below in regards to the topic at hand. As for now, this is where we're going to leave things. Thank you once again for giving me some of your time, and I'll see you in the next video.